another major win for Republicans in their efforts to keep control of the House after the midterms. The Louisiana State House has advanced an updated congressional map that is expected to remove at least one Democrat-leaning district. The plan still needs to be passed by their state Senate and signed by the governor. However, supporters think it will be implemented in time for November. At the same time, new reports are showing just how successful Republicans have been in their redistricting efforts. According to data compiled by CNN, you're looking at it here, Republicans are poised to finish the year with at least 10 seats ahead of Democrats due to redistricting. Several states are still working on new maps, so that number could actually grow even more for the GOP.
President Trump is taking to Truth Social to mock former First Lady Jill Biden over her recent comments about her husband's 2024 presidential debate performance. In a recent interview with CBS News, Jill Biden said she was frightened by former President Joe Biden's performance on stage, saying she thought he was having a stroke. The president's post reading in part, Jill Biden is out there now finally admitting she did not know what went wrong with Sleepy Joe. She said that she thought he was having a, quote, stroke and various other really bad things, and yet never rushed on stage to help her troubled husband, as any good wife would do. Did my strong performance in that debate cause him to plain and simple choke, leading to his ignominious defeat, or were there other reasons for cause? Nobody else knows the answer to that, but I do. Biden's performance shocked members of the Democratic Party and led to growing calls for him to drop out of the 2024 election. Around a month later, he did drop out of the race and ended
Varför ringer ni sitt trapp?
My name is Carrie Crow, and my degree is in elementary education, and I received that from WGU. I did have a
Breaking news tonight, the deadly explosion at a Dallas apartment complex. Right now, first responders searching for victims. The building erupting into a massive ball of fire. Flames engulfing the whole building. Firefighters searching through the mangled wreckage. Multiple people are dead. Neighbors saying their homes shook from the blast. What we just learned about what caused it. Is an Iran deal ready to be signed? Our new reporting on a possible breakthrough and what's in it. Why hasn't President Trump signed it? New revelations from First Lady Jill Biden saying she thought Joe Biden was drugged during his 2024 debate performance, and her response when asked if she noticed any cognitive decline. Serial killer in paradise? The manhunt in Hawaii for a suspect on the run after 3 people were murdered. Police say he's armed and dangerous. Field trip tragedy, the rafting accident leaving a young student dead. The raft overturned in the river. The student was wearing a life jacket. So how did this happen? GLP-1 overdoses, our investigation tonight into the explosive rise in overdoses from the popular weight loss drugs. Are those websites that prescribe them online to blame? How one woman felt like she was dying. The former CIA officer accused of stealing $40 million in gold bars from the spy agency. How did he trick the CIA for so long? Trump money, the new proposal for a $250 bill with President Trump's portrait on it. And there's good news tonight, the daring rescue to save
250, well, they put us a $250 with Trump's face on the...
Nightly news starts right now.
Anya, for the 250.
Multiple people killed in a massive explosion at an apartment building in Dallas. Right now, firefighters are searching through that rubble for more victims. These are the images just coming into our newsroom. From above, you can see the whole building there engulfed in fire. And from the ground, you can see it, just a torrent of fire shooting upwards. More than 100 first responders rushed out to this inferno to put out that fire, attacking it with full force at all angles. Moments later, you can see how that apartment building has been completely reduced to just rubble. Right now, firefighters are working their way through that twisted wreckage. Multiple people are still unaccounted for at this time, and we have late details that a gas explosion caused this blast. Candace Sweat from our NBC Dallas Fort Worth station is live at the scene for us. She starts us off, and Candace, we can see there just behind you, this scene is very active.
That's right, Tom. They're still behind me. And just moments ago, we've learned that this has gone from a rescue mission to a recovery mission.
Oh my gosh.
Chaos in Dallas. A massive plume of dark smoke filling the sky after officials say an explosion caused a fire at this apartment building.
Two-story apartment complex, natural gas explosion, multiple
Flames
victims.
completely engulfing the structure. Police seen here blocking streets and turning people away as they battled the inferno.
But you can see that there is really nothing left.
People nearby describing what they heard.
We were inside and all we heard was like a boom.
Dozens of firefighters sifting through massive piles of rubble.
We have 4 people transported to the hospital in unknown conditions at this time.
Residents of the apartment complex were devastated when they saw what was left of their home. NBC station KXAS confirming a contractor was working at the building on Thursday and struck a gas line. It isn't clear what type of work was being done at the time. A community anxiously waiting for answers as the investigation continues.
I want to encourage our entire city, this entire state, the entire nation to come together and pray for all the people.
Yeah,
all the
come
families,
together and pray.
who are affected by this tragedy we are experiencing here today in our city.
Candace joins us once again live. Candace, there is still a concern out there that people could be missing.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Tom. Again, we've confirmed now that there are fatalities and several people still unaccounted for, although it is unclear how many. This is still, as I mentioned before, an incredibly active scene. All of the trucks behind me, an indication that this is going to be a very long night for the city of Dallas. Tom.
Candace Sweat for us tonight. Candace, we thank you. Now to our other big story tonight, the war in Iran, and negotiators for the U.S. and Iran have apparently reached a deal. One official says it's just waiting for sign-off from President Trump and Iranian leaders. Richard Engel has the latest on what it all means.
A possible breakthrough tonight to end the war that has killed more than 3,000 Iranians, 13 Americans, and sent oil prices soaring. A senior Arab official directly involved in ceasefire talks tells NBC News tonight negotiators from both Iran and the U.S. have agreed to a deal and are now awaiting final sign-off from Iran's top leaders and President Trump.
You have a very short window for doing anything having to do with war. But I don't view that window. I view it, I have to do what's right.
The deal, the official said, was reached 3 days ago in Doha, Qatar, but has yet to become official. According to a draft released by Iranian media, the agreement would open the Strait of Hormuz and extend the ceasefire for 60 days. And then negotiations would begin over Iran's nuclear program to reach a long-term agreement. But time isn't helping. The deal nearly broke down twice this week, with Iran and the U.S. exchanging fire near the Strait of Hormuz. The latest clashes coming early this morning, when Iran launched a ballistic missile at a U.S. base in Kuwait. In response, Iran says, to an American strike on a command and control site in southern Iran. Kuwaiti air defenses shot down the incoming missile before it reached the American base. But the death toll is rising in Lebanon. Israel today carried out major strikes against Hezbollah in Beirut and Tyre. The Israeli military has ordered Lebanese civilians to evacuate from 17% of the country, declaring it a military zone.
Richard joins us now live. Richard, you mentioned in your report the deal has to be signed off on by Iran's top leaders. With so much uncertainty because so many leaders were killed there, do we know who that is?
Tired of calling the 1-800 number to get your EBT balance? Propel is the #1 EBT app, trusted by over 5 million people. Check your balance instantly, see your EBT transaction history, and get alerts when your deposit's on the way. Stay informed with easy-to-understand updates about your benefits. Keep your benefits safe with top-tier security features like card locking, and shop smarter.
We don't exactly, and there's some uncertainty about it. In theory, it's the new supreme leader, but he hasn't been seen in public since the war began, since the U.S. and Israel killed his father, the last supreme leader. The Speaker of Iran's parliament has been playing a leading role in negotiations, and the Revolutionary Guard are calling a lot of the shots in Iran, so it would likely be a combination of all three. Tom?
Richard Engel,
Record a number.
thank you. Back here at home, we have some new revelations tonight from former First Lady Jill Biden, writing in her new book that she thought President Biden may have been drugged during that disastrous debate performance. Her story now very different from what she was telling the public at the time. Here's Hallie Jackson.
Stunning new revelations tonight from the former First Lady in her new book after her husband's disastrous debate performance in 2024. Jill Biden wondering, has he been drugged? According to excerpts first published by The Atlantic and confirmed by NBC News. The former First Lady writing she wished she had thought to ask for a blood test after the debate.
Did you ever see signs that he was falling into cognitive decline?
No.
I mean, people were saying he wasn't the same Joe Biden.
Well, I don't think that's true. He was the essence of the same Joe Biden, but yeah, he was slowing down.
Her new comments.
Assassin cognitive mento. Sabing mento.
Reigniting a reckoning inside the Democratic Party over questions of transparency and former President Biden's fitness for office.
With COVID, with dealing with everything we have to do with, look, if we finally beat Medicare.
As Jill Biden walked with the former president off the stage, she writes, he whispered to her, I really effed up, didn't I? Yes, you did, she whispered back.
I had never, ever seen Joe like that before or since.
What happened?
I don't know what happened. I mean, as I watched it, I thought, oh my God, he's having a stroke. And it scared me to death.
But that's not how she reacted publicly that night. Instead, before accompanying him to a Waffle House, praising her husband's performance.
Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the...
Others around him at the time also insisting that night was a one-off. You never saw anything like what happened at the debate night behind closed doors with him?
It was a bad debate. People have bad debates.
Even with new questions now, Democrats are largely looking ahead with only brief mentions of that debate in their controversial election autopsy report. Tom?
Hallie Jackson for us. Hallie, we thank you for that. We're going to stick with politics tonight. The Trump administration facing backlash from Democrats after the Justice Department launched a new criminal probe related to writer E. Jean Carroll's civil lawsuits against the president. Plus, will Americans now start to buy things with a new type of Trump currency, a $250 bill? Here's Gabe Gutierrez.
Tonight, the Trump administration's new move against one of the president's political enemies. The Justice Department opening an investigation involving E. Jean Carroll's civil lawsuits over sexual abuse allegations against the president, according to two sources familiar with the matter. But the current probe is not focused on Carroll. Instead, it's on a trust founded by billionaire Reid Hoffman, whose nonprofit helped pay for some of Carroll's legal costs for her lawsuits against the president, the sources tell NBC News. Hoffman, the co-founder of LinkedIn, is a major Democratic donor and an outspoken critic of President Trump. In 2023, Carroll was awarded $5 million in damages after a jury found Trump liable for sexually abusing her in a New York department store in the mid-1990s.
This is not about the money. This is about getting my name back.
In 2024, a jury found that Trump had to pay Carroll more than $83 million in damages for repeated defamation.
I don't even know who this woman is.
The president has repeatedly denied Carroll's allegations. A federal appeals court decided that President Trump did not need to pay the money until the Supreme Court weighs in. The new move follows the DOJ's targeting of other Trump critics, including former FBI Director James Comey, New York Attorney General Letitia James, and California Senator Adam Schiff, who's calling it a vile attack on the rule of law and a disgusting insult to victims everywhere.
We could not reach Hoffman for comment. A source familiar with the investigation tells NBC News that Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche has recused himself because he was President Trump's personal lawyer, Tom.
Hey, Gabe, while we have you, there is another headline at the White House, the potential for a $250 bill with President Trump's photo on it.
Yes, Tom, the Washington Post just published a mock-up of a $250 bill aimed at honoring America's 250th birthday. Now, the Treasury Department says it's preparing for the possibility, but under current law, no living person can appear on U.S. currency, so any changes would take an act of Congress. Tom.
Okay, Gabe, we thank you. Now to every parent's worst nightmare, a 12-year-old student went on a river rafting trip with his school, but never came home. Emily Ikeda has more on the horrible accident.
Tonight, tragedy on the water. A 12-year-old killed during an annual end-of-school-year rafting trip. The sixth grader, Cesar Aberasin Gunkai, fell into the water with 4 others in the Poconos when the raft capsized, according to authorities. But Cesar was the only one who didn't resurface. Search and rescue teams sweeping the Lehigh River, finding him dead, despite wearing a life jacket in what officials described as typical water conditions. The Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission now investigating and looking into whether this tree seen pinning a green raft played a role.
When you have an obstacle sticking out of the water like that, the water tends to rush towards that object. That is actually going to act somewhat like a vacuum to suck you into that area.
His school district from New York remembering the 12-year-old as a beloved 6th grade student, a child who mattered deeply to all who had the privilege of knowing him.
He was a very artistic and creative kid. He was always running around everywhere. He was playing soccer. He loved soccer a lot.
His cousin says Cesar had been really looking forward to the trip.
He didn't grow up here. He grew up in Ecuador, so these stuff for him is the American dream, and he was very excited for the trip.
The unfathomable school trip tragedy now marking the first whitewater rafting death on the Lehigh in more than 10 years. Emily Ikeda, NBC News.
Incredibly sad. Okay, we're back in 60 seconds with the alarming rise of overdoses connected to GLP-1 weight loss drugs. What you need to know next. We are back now with a warning about GLP-1 drugs and the stunning rise in overdoses of the weight loss treatment. Our report tonight in partnership with KFF Health News. Here's Ann Thompson.
I knew that eventually this would be entirely...
Across social media, influencers tout telehealth companies offering weight loss medications for lower prices.
There it is.
It sounded like a perfect solution for Carly McLean, a new mom in Nashville trying to lose 50 pounds.
I was looking for a compounded semaglutide because I knew that was the most affordable option to move forward. I was looking for something that had good reviews and actually worked.
Her insurance didn't cover Ozempic, so she found Mochi Health and a compounded, cheaper option.
Ozempic was about $1,500 for me a month, and the one that I ended up going through was about $179 a month.
That's a huge saving.
Yes.
What she didn't know was how terribly wrong everything was about to go.
Did you fear you were going to lose your life?
Yeah.
Carly is one of a growing number of Americans who overdosed on GLP-1s. NBC News, in collaboration with KFF Health News, found that as GLP-1s become easier to get, poison control centers across the country are reporting an alarming increase in overdoses. From 1,366 cases in 2021 to 15,102 in 2025, a more than 1,000% increase. In Carly's case, the problem was on the label.
I received it, and the medication said to inject 88 units. And it seemed kind of high to me.
So she says she called Mochi. What were you told?
I was told that it is the correct dose.
And she took the medication as directed.
And then I get a message from the doctor at Mochi saying that I took way too much.
Almost 9 times too much. Rushed to the emergency room, she would spend 2 nights in the hospital. Dr. Gitanjali Srivastava, an obesity specialist at Vanderbilt Health in Nashville, says to expect more trouble ahead as people opt for cheaper compounded drugs that act like brand names but are not FDA approved.
We do not have any control over what is actually mixed within the compounded formulation, and there's not a standardization or standard process where compounding would be very effective or not.
I'm still upset that it happened to me, and I'm still upset that nobody's taking accountability for what they did to me.
Months later, Carly said she still has side effects from the overdose. Mochi Health says it's reviewing the case and is in direct and ongoing communication with Carly to reach a resolution.
You okay?
But so far, there is none.
All right, Ann joins us now live in studio. So, Ann, people at home are going to be watching this wondering, how do they make sure this doesn't happen to them?
The first thing people need to do, Tom,